Outfest Executive Director, Christopher Racster.
Good evening. Tonight we are here to celebrate our 35th anniversary. We began in 1982 when a group of students and faculty at UCLA created a 3-day conference to address how we were represented in film, because representations matter. Back then, when you saw a depiction of a queer or trans person, it was almost always derogatory. In the background, the clown, a sad, tragic life, or a sad, tragic death. Fast forward to today, and we have made great strides in representation. Our stories have gone from art house new queer cinema to Oscar winners, and Outfest has had an irreplaceable part in that change. But sadly, the reasons why Outfest was so important in 1982 continue to be some of the reasons that Outfest is so important now. Representations of our community are still problematic, and we're still not seen. Last year, of the 125 studio films, only 23 had LGBTQ representations. And while society has progressed, our current political climate and the continued discrimination and abuse faced particularly by queer and trans people of color evidences that our country and our culture has not moved enough, and that in many places we're threatened with losing ground. As such, Outfest continues to be as important as ever. Our stories have power, the power to create change for the individual, for the community, and for society. Outfest exists to create, to share, to protect, and to celebrate these stories, the stories that chronicle our lives and our loves, our challenges and our victories. Seeing ourselves on screen is still just as important as it was when I was a kid. We all have that film. That film was our film. When we first saw ourselves, or when we first realized we weren't alone. Those are precious and powerful stories. In the Midwest in the 80s, I thought I had no choice but to stay in the closet. If I came out, or worse yet, somebody found out, I thought my life was going to be over. It seems a little dramatic at this point, but at that point I was totally suicidal. It took, for me, a place to find refuge, and I took that refuge in the queer films that I found in the video store, a video store that was one town over. And I found Morris. Yeah, I saw the film, and I had no idea there was a book. I see there are a few more Morris fans. In it, I saw myself, a young gay man who was yearning for love and yearning for connection, and deciding and giving up because he decided that half a life lived in the closet, was good enough. Until he found somebody to dare him to make a courageous choice, the choice to choose love and decide that life was worth all the potential loss. That was 30 years ago, but it could also be the story of a young kid today. Outfest works year-round to address this. Through Outfest Forward, our education and mentoring programs nurture the next generation of queer storytellers. Through our Outfest Fusion LGBT People of Color Film Festival, we make sure that queer and trans people of color control how they are represented. And we assure that those stories are lifted above a crowded media marketplace. Our Outfest UCLA Legacy Project archives and restores our film and television history. To date, we have restored 25 films, and our collection now has over 35,000 works. In Outfest Los Angeles, 35 years later, Outfest Los Angeles is the world's preeminent LGBT film festival. We are about to show you over 190 films from 30 countries in 6 incredible venues with an attendance of over 1,000. It's with an attendance of about 40,000 people. Distributors come to our festival to acquire content. Talent executives, agents, managers, development executives come here to discover new voices. and film festival programmers from around the world come to see what we've discovered. Outfest is centered here in Los Angeles, but our impact in terms of fostering talent, launching filmmakers, and preserving our stories is global. Outfest will and always will be here to make sure that we are seen and heard, and we're going to use the power of our stories to continue to create change. I swear I'm almost done with the speech. Before I step away, I think it's really important to once again thank the people that make this happen. We have a tireless staff, and I am humbled to get to work side by side with them every day. We have an incredible, dedicated board who give hundreds of hours over the year to make this happen. Our members and our major donors, many of which have been with us for 35 years and are here tonight, join with our sponsors to support all that we do year-round. HBO, for example, has supported us for over 20 years. And we can never thank enough the volunteers. We have 350 volunteers who give us truly what is perhaps the most precious gift. They give us their time, and they make this festival run, and we're incredibly grateful. Have a good evening, everybody.